Hello and welcome to this section. In this section, we will learn how to use the widget sliding timeline. The section mainly contains the following 4 knowledge points. First of all, it is a basic use, followed by the important attributes of the sliding timeline. Then we will talk about the function of time mark itself and its function in sliding time axis. Finally, we will talk about the mask effect in the canvas. So first of all, let's learn the first knowledge point, the basic usage of the sliding time axis. First, let's look at the basic usage of the sliding time axis. Its first usage is to command the track movement of multiple internal objects. Are you familiar with such a usage? Command the track of multiple internal objects. Where was the motion property before? Yes. Have you seen it in our timeline widget? So in fact, for our sliding timeline, it is a collection of a timeline plus a sliding area, and then, its third point property, which can freely modify the edited keyframe animation controlled by sliding and played progress. To listen to our basic usage in this way, it may be more abstract. Here we open an application for you to have a detailed explanation. First, we open our editor and open an application such as the analog clock that we made in the last lesson. As you can see, at present, we put a widget on the timeline in it. We select our object group, and there is a gesture-like symbol next to our timeline. The symbol of such a gesture is our sliding timeline. We select such an object group, and we add our sliding timeline under it. When we add a sliding timeline, we can see that our mouse becomes a 10-word. What does this mean? This shows that the sliding time axis has its size, and its size determines the range in which it can monitor the effect of a sliding of our fingers. Here, let's draw a size casually, which is our sliding timeline. Then we select our hour hand and minute hand, drag it into our sliding time axis, and then we delete such a time axis outside us, and then select the sliding time axis to clear its background color. You can see that it is in our sliding time axis. Let's adjust our time axis slide the timeline, so that it aligns as much as possible with an origin before us, and then let's preview the effect. Here we switch to a mobile phone mode. It can be found that such a timeline does not have a playback effect. How can he perform a playback? Let's check the auto playback here. Let's preview again. You can see, now such a timeline will have an effect of automatic playback, so now its effect is the same as ours. Is it completely consistent with a widget such as our timeline? Let's check the loop play again, and then we can have a preview. If we open the check, we can see that a play effect such as it is now completely consistent with an effect of our timeline. Since it is so similar to the timeline, why should we make a sliding timeline separately? Let's go back to PPT and take a look at a basic usage of sliding timeline. It can be found that what is the biggest difference between sliding timeline and our timeline? It has a sliding area and can freely control our playback progress by sliding. How can we understand such an effect? Here we switch back, we turn off the autoplay property, let's have a preview, and then we can see, now it won't have a play effect, so how do we make it play? You can see my mouse, my mouse. At present, I feed me in a sliding area and hold it. Then I slide upward. You can find that when I slide upward, such an hour hand and minute hand move. So what kind of basic feeling do you have from here? That is, our sliding can control such a playback effect, and you see, if I only slide a little, it will only play a little. If I skate very, very fast, it will play such an animation very, very fast. This is our difference part, that is, it has a sliding area, and our sliding can control our playback progress. Therefore, after identifying the difference, we understand that for us to slide the timeline, one of its basic practices is completely consistent with our animation related to our timeline. The only difference is that it has a playback effect. It has an automatic playback effect. It becomes a playback effect controlled by our gesture sliding. Next, let's take a look at the important property of the sliding time axis. The sliding time axis mainly has 2 important properties. The first point is its sliding direction. When we switch to our editor, we can see that our sliding direction is upward by default, so we can say that now we are upward is a positive direction, and a progress bar of it when I move it, it will play in the forward direction. Here we can change the upward schedule to a downward one. Let's preview the effect again. Now when I slide up, you can see such a timeline, and it will play in the reverse direction. Similarly, if you change here to left or right, you can determine the order of forward playback according to your different sliding directions. Here we still change it to the default up slide to the positive direction, and then it has its second important attribute, which is its sliding effect. Here we switch to our sliding effect. First of all, the first point is that it has an inertia slide. We take our inertia slide, and we adjust it to a little bit higher by its inertia friction. Then we have a preview to have a look. And now when we preview, we can see that when I stop, does such a clock still have an effect of inertial movement? This is our inertial sliding. Therefore, when we turn on inertial sliding, it will extend to a part of the sliding distance according to the inertia, so an animation effect of it will also extend for a playback, and it will not stop our playback immediately as our fingers stop. Then it also has a control point called auto jump, and auto jump, our control point, is a very important property for us, which needs to be combined with our time mark to carry out a learning. Then let's take a look at the usage of one of our time markers. First, our time marker has 3 usages. The first point is that we change one of its sliding types to a jump point, and then add one of our starting points, which can enable us to automatically trigger an animation in a certain period of time. How do we understand the effect of this automatic jump point plus the starting point? So let's show you here. We switch to our analog clock, and we can select any property here. For example, when we are in such a position, it may turn us for an hour. Then we select our sliding timeline, and add a time mark here. When we select the sliding timeline, we can click our time mark to add our time mark to one of our sliding timelines, and then it has a pause point attribute, and it will automatically change one of our trigger directions to a two-way effect. Then, we adjust our sliding timeline, its original duration, and playback speed. We adjust it a little slower. Here, we let it play at a speed of 0.3 times, and then we change a sliding effect here to an automatic jump control point. Here, for the convenience of demonstration, let's find a position at about 3 o'clock, almost. Here we add a timestamp for him. Similarly, we find a place at 6 o'clock and add a time mark for it. Why do we add such a time mark? What effect does it have, and what effect does it have with our automatic jump control point? Let's take a look at what kind of effect it has. Let's have a preview directly. Now I slide my finger gently. You can see, if I gently stroke, does it automatically help me jump to a time point like 1 o'clock? Let me stroke again. You can see that he helped me jump to a time point like 3 o'clock, and then change again. You can see that he helped me automatically jump to a time point like 6 o'clock. That's right. What is the reason? This is because when we set the sliding effect to automatically jump to the control point, it will automatically find a time mark like us and help us automatically transition between the 2 time marks, and we can set its jump time. For example, if we set 0.3 seconds now, it will play to the next time mark after 0.3 seconds. Remember, we can set it a little longer here. For example, we can make it jump to the next time mark in 1 second. Let's take another look at the effect. When I slide, you can see that he turns once after 1 second, and then I slide again. You can see that he is faster now, because he has to turn twice here. 2 seconds later, he came to the position of 3 o'clock, and then slide it again. You can see that he turns faster here. Because it takes us 3 seconds to slide, and then to a time point such as 6 o'clock, we can get a very cool effect if we match our time mark, add our trigger time, and automatically jump to the control point with our sliding effect. Similarly, because we set a two-way trigger effect here, we can have such an effect when we slide forward or backward. There are 2 ways to mark time. One is to trigger the event of any playing progress, or to pause the animation in a specific time, and to play to the starting point of a certain time point, or to pause the animation in sections. These 2 things will be learned later. When integrating H5 in the video, we will give a detailed explanation between class and our next class. You can only master the usage of automatic jump point and our starting point. Then let's talk about an effect of one of our masks, and then let's take a look at a basic usage of masks. First of all, the first mask is a special attribute under the canvas, and we will give a unified explanation when we start to talk about the canvas later. Here we can tell you that the objects and animations under the canvas will have more realistic effects. Therefore, generally speaking, we need to do our animation effects. Whether it is our sliding timeline animation or our timeline animation, we will add a canvas first and then make another one. Just remember this conclusion. As for a series of more canvas application, we will gradually carry out a study with the development of our chapter. So in order to learn our mask effect, we must add a canvas. Let's add a picture to the canvas to experience one of our mask effects. Let's add a picture here. Here we will add a baseball of our baseball material. You can see that now such a baseball is ready. Then we will add a picture under the canvas. For example, we will add it here. Then I will upload a picture with a white background for you to see. Up to now, does this white background picture cover such a baseball? Then let's first look at the first use of the mask, that is, the essence of the mask is our light transmittance. When the object of the mask is selected as a white background, it will pass through all colors. What does this mean? We chose to come here. We added a mask for baseball. Why did we choose the mask for baseball? We chose our weather market, that is, our white background. You can see that when we choose such a white background, we can't see the content in the above part. When we can't see it, within what range can the mask be displayed? Can it be displayed within the range I choose as the mask? Therefore, we should understand that the essence of the mask is light transmittance. Only under this mask can its light be penetrated. When we choose white background, it means that we can penetrate all one color. So for such a material, it will maintain its original color. Here, let's do an experiment. For example, we replace such a white background picture with a yellow one. You can find that there is a very big difference between our picture and its color. Since we now set it as a yellow picture, let me show you one of its primary colors first. I'll remove one of its manufacturing. We can see that now, because our mask object selection is a yellow picture, we feel that it is added with a layer of yellow filter. If we select it as a black picture, what kind of effect is it? Similarly, we first remove such a license and replace such a pure yellow material. We replaced it with a black picture, and then we still added a manufacturing for baseball. It was added as our pure black. You can see, because you choose to spread black, what does it mean to spread black? No light can penetrate, so when we choose pure black, you can see that the whole license has no effect at all. Therefore, for the understanding that our mask is a part of our light transmittance, we must have a deep understanding, and then there is a conclusive statement. For our mask object is selected as white background, so the object will only be displayed within the scope of our mask. This is a conclusive statement. Everyone finally, when using our license, 99% of them use such a scene, that is, we select a white background as the mask object, and then the object will be displayed within the manufacturing range of the white background. Therefore, we finally replace such a pure black color with our white background, and we can find that our baseball is only to be within the range of white background. It will have a very good display. The content of this course is mainly based on concepts. I hope you can have a superficial understanding. In the next lesson, I will cooperate with a practical case to deepen your understanding of the concept of this lesson. The above is the whole content of this section. Thank you for watching.